Hi, everybody. Gwen Jones here, and welcome to this week's episode of the Action to Impact Show. As always, I'm super excited that you've joined me. Well, if you watched last week's show, we talked about cryonics. That's right, cryonics, which is the process of freezing yourself after death, because you never know, they might be able to bring you back to life. As a lot of you know, I'm going to be 60. So I've started a whole collection of shows about getting older. And my friend Charlie Cam coming and talking about cryonics was show number 1. Well, I am so excited about longevity and getting older and how to do it well that I've been asked this fall to go to an amazing festival called RadFest. And it has to do with radical sessions and ideas about getting older and how to do it gracefully, how to do it younger and feeling better, and how to do it so I can live just, well, I'll admit it, longer, a lot longer. And my dear friend Jean Weidman happens to be in charge of the whole thing. Well, let me rephrase that. In charge of the speakers and in charge of getting people like me there. But she herself has her own longevity journey, and she's willing to talk to me about it. We're both about the same age. She's doing some really interesting stuff, from peptides to, I don't know, different oxygens and different... Anyhow, I'll let her explain. This week is the second of my longevity shows with my friend Jean. We're going to talk about RadFest. We're going to talk about her longevity journey. And I'm going to be 60. So I'm going to have a lot of these shows. It's going to be cool because I know I keep saying I'm not getting any younger, but who knows? I may getting a lot better. And as always, thanks for joining for the conversation. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, as you well know, I am turning 60. I have talked about it because I have to remind myself that I'm going to be 60, because I remember in my 20s that 60 was really old. And now, as I'm about to turn 60, I'm like, hell no, 60 is young. I feel young. I feel I don't look my age. I certainly try to not act my age. And I have a sister in this same type of belief. She doesn't look her age. She doesn't want to act her age. She doesn't want it, and she wants to live for a very long time. So we're going to talk about two things today. First of all, I want you to meet my friend, Jean Weidman. Hi, Jean. It's very nice to see you.
Hi, Gwen.
We're going to talk about two things today. We're going to talk about Jean's journey into her longevity, and she's going to give me some pointers. She's going to give me her journey and why she wants to live longer. And then we're going to talk about a festival that I'm going to be going to and recording the show live at. And it is a longevity conference called RadFest. And we'll explain, Jean will explain what the word rad actually means. Welcome to the show, my friend. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much, Gwen. What a great introduction. You're one of the most fun people in my life. So such a joy.
Well, thank you. So I'm going to ask the question that my mother would just be cringing now if I even asked the question.
Yes.
How old are you?
I turned 63 in May.
Okay. All right. So how old do you want to be? Like, how long do you want to be on this planet?
Well, I'm on the crazy side.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. So you probably brought on one of the wildest people on your show, because when I was like 14, I heard of cryonics, and I thought, I heard that Walt Disney was frozen, and
right.
And I thought, I want to do that. Yes, freeze me and bring me back in 100 years.
And we just had a show with our mutual friend, Charlie Cam, who gave us a full 101 about what cryonics is and how you do it. So you're ready.
I'm ready. I just have that kind of, maybe I don't know. I didn't realize it until a lot later in years that I'm a futurist. I'm forward thinking. I'm forward thinking. I'm also humanitarian. I'm forward thinking, and I'm thinking about human beings and humanitarian, and really how good we should be having it.
Okay.
We should be having it fabulously on this planet. We have the most gorgeous planet. But anyway, so yeah, when I was 28, I had kind of a revelation that holy mackerel, the human body doesn't actually have to die. When you cut yourself, the body heals.
Right.
But also energetically, you know, people many times when they mature, they get smaller. Do less, don't do this, don't do this, and you kind of shut down energetically. But the truth of the matter is, Gwen, you probably know this better than me, our world's changing anyways.
Right.
If you take the first Star Wars and take like the third Star Wars or the fourth Star Wars, put those together and put a 50-year-old in the first Star Wars and a 50-year-old in the third or fourth Star Wars, they look like totally different people. I mean,
Right.
so the mature population is looking better longer. Like, look at our grandparents. I mean, my grandmother looked 90 when she was 50 and 60. But so we're changing anyways, whether we want to or not. We're actually changing. And most
But how old do you want to get?
well, this is how wild I am. I don't believe the human body has to die. And
Okay.
so I'm a physical mortalist. And one of the reasons
Okay, so
why,
stop. I'm going to stop you right there.
yeah.
What is a physical mortalist? Because I already know somebody's driving in their car or watching this on YouTube going, she's a what? What's a physical? So you physically don't believe in mortality?
Yeah, I physically don't want to die.
Okay.
I feel like we can transform on 2 feet. I physically, and that, it's funny because that's the first words I heard when I was 28. Someone said physical immortality. And I was like, what? What the hell is
Wow.
that?
Okay.
And this is deep. The second
Okay,
reason
I'm
why,
ready.
the second reason why I don't want to die is I don't want to cause you that kind of pain. We can
Wow.
grow. We can grow together. We can grow. We can become exponential. We can become more. People now are in their 80s are starting new careers. People in their
Right.
70s, they don't feel like they're 70. People are not limited as much by age anymore. People are having multiple careers. So I think it's something that's happening. But yeah, we want peace. We want the end of suffering. How's that going to happen? I'm sticking around to say, hey, I'm not going to create that suffering just even in death. And, we send our kids to war.
Right.
Why? For what? For what? What? For what? Imagine,
Hmm.
because you're saying that person is expendable. That
You
person's,
know, that's very interesting. So you've
yes,
you've you've touched on, so you want to live for, it sounds like, three different reasons. One, you don't want to start pain. So you're a huge humanitarian. And
yes,
two, you point out that young people fight wars, not old people, or older, I should say. Older people don't fight wars. Younger people fight wars. And these older people that are sending those kids out to fight wars, by the way, are actually getting younger and they're even starting new careers. So that leads to expendable. What's your thoughts? I mean, is that
Well,
like,
I guess I never thought of it exact, but yeah, the human body, I think it doesn't matter what age, no human being should be expendable. That's my feeling. No human being should be expendable. And there is a depth and a creation that if we really went all the way, we could, I mean, Star Wars didn't come out of the sky. And
right?
or Star Trek didn't fall out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
There is truth to that. And just like Christopher Columbus or Chuck Yeager, somebody has to break those barriers. Chuck Yeager was in a plane shaking, 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 and he just
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm going to put the pedal to the metal and I'm going to break the barrier. And boom, right?
Right.
Boom, the sonic boom. So yeah. And
No,
yeah,
I get it. So what I find fascinating, though, I
yes,
mean, is that, I mean, there is, I think people forget that
yeah.
every 7 years we are a new person, right? All of our cells, we die off and we come back again. So if you don't necessarily like yourself right now, you will be a whole person in 7 years. So, um, So we do
Yeah.
regenerate. You just said
Yeah.
if you cut your finger, you regenerate.
Yes.
And so does it then it just becomes, is it like an obsession for you to like be on the cutting edge of what's new and exciting? And are you trying new stuff all the time? Or are you sticking with the classics like a good diet and exercise and, almost like a zone kind of feel to live longer, or both?
Yeah, and I think one thing when I said I'm wild, so I think what's happening now is everyone deserves the choice. I think that's
Okay.
what's happening now. Everyone deserves a choice. If you want to live to 100, some people have that goal, 120, 200, or have the choice. For me, I'm doing the best that I can. We also want to think about sustainability. Like,
Right.
we don't want to be so perfect that our life revolves around that perfection and we're not living. So part of this is also really allowing ourselves to energetically be alive and
Mm-hmm.
change as a human being, like you said, every 7 years, and have friends that you can
Mm-hmm.
change with. Like that's what I have with you and Celia, is we
Oh, thank you.
change and we grow and we meet each other fresh, and
Mm-hmm.
so, but I do exercise, and I've gone through periods where maybe I didn't exercise as much and I was working too hard. I did go through a phase where I was kind of like not taking care of myself as good. I took excellent care of myself until I was like about 50, 55. Yeah, 55. And then I fell off the wagon and I gained
Right.
weight and I was working too hard, and we were producing Radfest, so we were like early in the game, and so we were forging, making a niche, and so then the last year I've dialed it in. So exercise is vital. Sleep. So I really think exercise, number one. You have to move the body every day because that's what cleans up your system. And walking is good, but I do think you should do a gym 3 times a
Mm-hmm.
week. Get a trainer. I think that's number one because that is a detoxing automatically. And then the second thing is sleep. My sleep, I'm still working on.
Okay. Fair enough.
And then food is very important. And eating more for nutrition than pleasure, and I have in my life at times been a pleasure eater, but me
Mm-hmm.
eating doesn't mean that food is tastes bad. You can make great food, but you're eating it more for nutritional than pleasure. And then I am doing cutting edge stuff. I do cutting edge stuff. I've done young plasma exchange. I do peptides. I do exosomes, but I do them thoughtfully and I work with the top companies. I do due diligence. I ask a lot of questions. So I don't casually do anything. I do it with a lot of thought. Right now, I'm doing blood work every 3 months so I can monitor how things are happening. And also each year changes. I think this year, the last year and this year and next year, things are happening and it's more accessible. It's easier.
So you have a mutual friend of ours, Ray Kurzweil, saying that right now, through
Yeah.
AI and through other things, we will actually start getting younger. And I've heard my partner say stuff like, I would love to live, into triple digits. And I just want to do whatever I can to keep this shell I'm in functioning until AI and the medical fields come in and can do the rest of the work. So that is diet, it is exercise, it is a lot of sleep. The science that's coming out about sleep, everybody, please go home and take a nap. Um, so are is that kind of your approach too? Or you
Oh,
had mentioned things like plasma. Tell people what that is.
okay. Well, one thing I do want to say that I'm very particular about, the most important thing is how I talk to myself.
Okay.
Number one thing is how I communicate to the cells and atoms of my body. The cells and atoms of my body are my military. They're my soldiers. If I'm so that's kind of part of the reason why I said I'm living forever is because I'm allowing myself a vastness and to be exponential. I'm not putting a time limit. I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure, but I'm not putting a time limit. So the way I talk to myself, I don't view my body as a shell. My skin is me. My body is me. I'm one. I'm integrated. I'm whole. I'm a whole human being. And so I'm not split up. I bring my whole body together as a whole person, and then I communicate unlimitedness to every cell and atom of my body. Like I have no space for anything else. Doesn't mean I live perfectly, like I said, but but the number one thing is how I communicate to myself. So it's like my arm isn't separate, my finger isn't separate, my I'm not a shell. I think that's the thing is we underestimate the cellular structure of our body. We
Okay.
have trillions of cells. We've got like our organs would wrap around the earth. There's so much to the human body that's actually undiscovered. And so that's where, and then also meditation can take you to deep places. I think meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong. I'm certified in Qigong. I was also a massage therapist for 25 years. So you learned a lot of techniques, how to move the energy and how to move disease in my body by being in touch with it, listening to it. A lot of times your body's communicating to you. If there's
Right.
pain, it's your body's talking to you. So it's like we each have to come home. We have to come home and not, it's unfortunate. Half the time we're running away from our bodies. And like,
Right.
that's crazy, right? So, number one is just allowing yourself to come home, to sleep, and then doing your best. And then the second thing is good associations. You need people in your life that are encouraging to you, that don't think you're weird, like that love, that enjoy you, yeah. If you have encouraging people in your life, you could pick up the phone, say two words, and boom, it's like you stepped under a waterfall and you got all the crystal ions. Human
Right.
beings, and I think that's the last thing I'm going to say. That's why, and when we get into Radfest, is the revolution against aging and death is what it is we're flipping society. The society right now is death orientated. We're flipping it to life orientated. And so we're not wearing each other out. We're not beating each other up. We're encouraging, we're enlivening, we're speaking to our own cellular structure and each other's cellular structure. When you walk into a room and you feel
Mhm.
lifted, you're like, oh, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
And you walk into a room and you feel depressed. Now you take that to the next level when you walk into a room of people that feel unlimited possibilities, that changes your body. It changes your structure. It changes your thought processes. So that's the biggest thing is I think one is how you talk to yourself. Two is having people that are encouraging to you. And then three, four, five, six, and seven is all the other stuff. And young plasma exchange was a little experimental. That was wild. Okay, I have a wild story about that.
Okay. Well, first of all,
Yeah,
let's
go
tell
ahead.
everybody what it is.
Okay.
Young plasma is because I think because we are listening, because there are people who are listening to us who have no idea what the longevity world is about. And last week they listened to cryonics. So they were like, okay, young plasma in its basic form is sucking plasma out of young people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, yeah.
So don't steer your car off the road if you're listening to us.
And
It's
don't kidnap your kids.
don't kidnap your kid and like stick needles in them and suck their plasma out. Yeah. But it is controversial. I mean, or I should say, it's gotten interesting press. It's gotten more sci-fi press than factual press. Is that a fair way to say it?
Oh, that's a huge way to say it because I think it's gotten kind of quite a bit of bad press and also pushed down by competing industries
Sure.
that it's not allowed for it to come forth in what it may possibly do totally. But we'll see how. Yeah, go ahead.
And let's make sure everybody know that
Yeah.
when what this is volunteers. By the way, we're not going out in the middle of the night and stabbing teenagers on their way home from the club. Okay. And it's not I don't do this. Sorry. It is, however, volunteers that are willing to share their plasma. Is that a correct way to say it?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. There's blood banks. Right
Okay.
now, people donate blood. That's
Right.
common. And also there's plasma banks. You can
Correct.
also go and donate your plasma. And I have a great tip for some people on the plasma, which I'll share later. So there's blood banks, there's plasma banks. You donate it and they use it for science. So there's only one place in the United States that collects plasma from age 19 to 25, and
Okay.
they donate. So instead of donating blood or plasma, these young people, they get money, like they're in college, they get money. You get
Right.
money to donate your plasma, and it's 18 or 19, I think it's 18 or 19 to 25, and it's sex specific. So when they take that plasma, they bank it. It's this age range, and it's either male or female, because they're finding out more and more that the female body is far more complex. And
And it
and
doesn't matter race. So it could be
yeah,
it's female 18 to 25, but they could be Asian, they could be, you know, Haitian, they could be anywhere in the
yeah,
world.
no,
So it's
it
not a
doesn't.
color thing or an ethnicity thing.
That's a good question. And it's actually a question that I never asked about the race. And so I don't think that it's race. I mean, I think that's a good question. I
Well, I asked that
Because I
because,
think
for
it's the same.
instance,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think it's the same way as donating blood or donating plasma.
okay, so that because I know there is certain things like, for instance, sickle cell anemia and different things that just run in certain ethnic groups. So
Yes.
okay, but I digress. Okay, so you have these banks, and people get paid to give this plasma, just like a sperm bank, fellas, just like blood, just like any of these other things. Okay,
And so I don't have all the scientific information to share with you, but it is thoroughly processed. So it's actually cleaner to get a plasma donation than a blood donation. So
wow.
yeah, yeah. So it's actually cleaner. And the thing about so this is the trippy thing. So the young plasma, and what this is supposed to do is the young plasma has all the attributes of a young body. So it has all the exosomes. It has
Okay,
all the peptides. It has all the growth factors. It has all the growth hormones. It has all those building blocks that a person of 20 years old has. So it was funny because when I went and basically they're pulling out blood and they're putting in the plasma. And so I felt like afterwards that I had like, it was the weirdest feeling is that I had like 10 cups of coffee, but it was a different feeling. And what
it
someone said
wasn't.
to me,
So it wasn't like jittery.
no, it wasn't jittery. It was just like a surge of energy. And what the physician said is, oh, you have a 20-year-old's energy in your body. When's the last time you had 20-year-old energy? And I'm like, 40 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Right, right. So you have the frequency and the energy of a 20-year-old.
So, okay, I already know there's some people just going, okay, she had me on good diet, exercise, get lots of sleep. This is where you're losing me. And it's okay
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I know
yeah,
those same people last week were like, okay, it's all fun and games. Charlie's
yeah.
saying this is just like a backup, you know, but this is something that in a lot of ways is almost mainstream. And I say that, everybody listening and
Yes.
watching us, because if you go to any cosmetic counter, they're going to talk about two things: free radicals and peptides for your skin.
Yes.
So the idea of getting younger, we've always talked about, but our face, but you're
Yes.
taking it one step further and saying, not only am I going to put it in my face, I'm going to put it in my veins. Is that
Absolutely.
okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of all the things I've done, I think that one is the most experimental. And
Okay.
it is something that they recommend that you do on a regular basis, like every year, but I think right now the it's not as accessible and it's still quite expensive. So it's not something I'm going to do. I'm in the industry, and so I've done more experimental things. I did a lot of research, talked to a lot of people before I did that. I don't do anything casually. And I think I had tremendous benefit, but it's not really cost effective at this time to do on an annual basis. So the ones I do now are exosomes and peptides, it took me a while to do peptides because I like to find the right provider, ask a ton of questions, get really good guidance. I don't do things casually. So I wanted to have my blood work. So I
Hmm.
got my blood work before I started the peptides, and I took my test, but I haven't gotten the results. So I'll be able to tell you later, Gwen, like, what's the improvement. And I've been doing a program of peptides where I'm doing retatrutide, which is a triple antagonist. And then I'm taking a peptide for my brain, my gut, and and also the other one is for, oh, I forgot
Well,
what
I
it
don't
was.
know. If you just forgot that one for the brain, you should get your money back on that one. Saying that one.
Well, I switched. I was doing one for that retains muscle, but I didn't really need it because I'm working out quite a bit. So I just switched over. Oh, liver cleanse.
Liver cleanse.
It's a liver cleanse. So that's what I'm doing now.
So I'm going to get to
Yeah.
Radfest, but I
Yeah.
have two more questions, and I'm
Yeah.
going to ask this now because for my listeners, this is the beginning of several discussions that I'm going to have about longevity into the
Yes.
fall, which is great. But two things come to mind. One is if all of us are living longer,
Yeah.
where are we all going to live? Right now, we already have trouble with water. Right now, we're having trouble with uh, land space. We're not making any more land. One would argue we're losing land. Okay. So if all of us are living longer, where are we all going to live longer? And our longevity folks like yourself, are you leading the way environmentally? Are you leading the way scientifically in that aspect? And you're the first to get this question, but I have some more guests that I'm going to ask the same question to, is that as we're living longer, as you've decided to make the financial and the time and energy to live longer, where are you going to live longer? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Human beings are brilliant. I mean, look at the things we built in the world. I mean, just even the Golden Gate Bridge, these bridges around the world and the structure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, space rockets to the moon. I even know like there's a company in California where they did a what do you call that printing? The uh,
3D printing?
3D printed a rocket ship, a full-on rocket ship size, and was able to blast it off. So we don't give ourselves enough credit because guess what? We're going to solve the problems. Whatever problems we have in the future, we will find the solution, and we have. I am definitely an environmentalist. I'm more. I'm not. And there's different factions of longevity. I'm not really a person that wants to become a robot or put my
Okay.
brain in a robot. I love nature. I love being in tune. I love being physical. So I'm kind of more of a person that wants to keep my body. But this is great. There's a lot of choices. People have amazing choices. But we'll solve those problems. I am an environmentalist, but it makes it hard because our infrastructure doesn't really support it.
Right.
There's different communities. It depends on your community. Where I live, it's terrible. Like if I want to do, don't, my glass and my paper goods, I have to take it somewhere. It's not supported where I live. So I am 100% environmentalist. But it's just, or if you went to another country,
Mm-hmm.
if you went to Asia, I mean, they built these programs in. So I think that's the thing that the US is very much consumers. And so,
Right.
you have to go the extra mile to be an environmentalist. But I think we're going to solve whatever, we're going to find the answers for whatever we incur. And I think it can be quite exciting. People don't realize if you step out see, if we live longer, guess what? We're going to step out of the rat race. We're going to become
Ah,
more creative. We're going to have time. We're going to expand. We're not going to be just right now. We're in a rat race. We're in a survival race. What James Stroll, who's my director, he says When we start expanding our number of years, we are going to enter the era of creativity. We're going to have breathing room to really create. Right now we're just grinding it out, and so that's very wearing on the body. It's a flip. It's a flip. And it's even a thought process. You don't have to want to live forever.
Right.
It's just, doesn't everyone want a better quality of living? Good friends, people you care about. Don't you want to see your loved one not go downhill? I think those are the simple things. And part of that is each person taking the responsibility not to do it themselves.
So what do you say to somebody who's like, well, Jean, that's a very serendipity kind of attitude. We'll just wait. They're going to fix it. I'm going to live forever, get my peptides and my such and such, and others are going to fix it. You really, but you kind of sleep at night going, no, Gwen, this isn't just pixie dust and fairy tales. You believe in the science that we have a next generation of scientists that actually can help with these things.
Well, I think there's two things. I think we have current scientists, because anytime a scientist today with their depth of knowledge and wealth of knowledge, every time they pass, where does that knowledge go? You know what? So we have young, and the young population is phenomenal. Right now in the world, there are young people creating pop-up cities worldwide that are doing think tanks just talking about these conversations. They don't want their parents to pass. They want their parents to stick around. They don't want their parents to have cancer. So there are intelligent young people coming together all over the world. Singapore, Germany, and so some of them are also in the crypto. I don't know as much about crypto. I'm not endorsing that. But there are people that are doing more forward thinking. And that's, Christopher Columbus. There are people on the planet that are designing our future now. Now, the reason why.
So we had those old explorers, the Christopher Columbuses, the Manifest Destiny. We had that. And we very well could have a new Manifest Destiny with this this Gen Zers.
Yes.
Right.
And we do want to keep everyone around because, like say Ray Kurzweil, he's a wonderful speaker. He's the best. Talk about positivity. I've never heard a person say, really, look at our world. We have it better than ever. And people are like, what? And he will list all the things. So, but we want to keep everyone because we don't want any of that knowledge to, there's a richening and there's a depth when you can. And so we want to stop ageism, period. The young, the old, everybody comes together and there isn't that gap of ageism. And, and I think for me, I have been a game changer because I have helped brand new companies that are in this emerging technology and information, help them to get market adoption. Now, each one of us has a specific purpose. I can't do everything. I can't solve all the problems, but I can attack the ones that I can make a difference in. If each person made a difference in their expertise and what they could do, then that's your hand. Then we cover everything. I don't need to be a thumb and a forefinger and a pinky at the same time. That's, I need to specialize in what I'm best at and how I can add value.
So
Gwen, okay, I'm going to go really trippy on you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I often think, okay, maybe I don't even know if I should say this, but people that go in 60s and 70s and 80s and go to the casino,
right?
They should go to a kindergarten school. They should go to a grammar school. They should contribute their time to another human.
So you're saying don't go to the casino.
Go to the casino. Go to the casino once a month, and then however many times you go to the casino, balance it out to also go help a young person.
And then I'll throw it out there, young people, instead of going to you can't go to the casino, but you're really saying that the longevity question is also the age, the age problems that we have, the discrimination over age in either direction that we have.
in either direction. And I have to tell you, Gwen, I think our young population is suffering far more than our mature population in terms of self-worth, who they are, what do they want to do, what is their value? Are they even important? I think it's especially COVID and sense. I think we have a demographics of the young population that's suffering.
Well, I'll tell you, I think as two women on the screen right now, this is probably a bold statement, but I think we have some men that could really use some men. Older men. I'm asking some older men that listen to my voice to go check out some younger men and like get them to, because right now, because I am not a fan. You can send me all the hate mail you want. I am not a manosphere fan. And I have a feeling that those people, well, they're not thinking about longevity, obviously. But there is that factor of, I'm young, I'm going to live forever. I'm gonna, and as long as I look good and that kind of stuff. But that's probably another show.
Well, I think we've all had that when we were young. We were invincible in our 20s. I mean, the wild things we used to do. But you know what? There are some phenomenal men that have a lot to give. You hit the nail on the head. They have a lot to give. That's beautiful.
This is not a she-woman men hater club in any way, shape, or form. So, all right, let's talk about RADFest.
Yes.
So you've talked about your longevity. You've talked about working in kind of a zone cooperative, the 5-zone kind of cooperative, or I should say blue zone kind of foundations with peptides and AI and different things. And the way you got a lot of these ideas was through many avenues, but one of them is called RADFest. And you guys were so kind to say, hey, Gwen, because I'm always saying the show will go on the road. I will be spending in September 2-3 days in Scottsdale, Arizona at RADFest with all you longevity folks. What does RADFest stand for?
RADFest stands for the Revolution Against Aging and Death Festival. It was originally designed to be the Woodstock of super longevity, to bring in top scientists from around the world and to make it a fun and exploratory event. And also it is the premier event of the Coalition for Radical Life Extension. So we are the Coalition for Radical Life Extension. We are a nonprofit. We have 3 initiatives. One is introducing to the lay population. And you know what? This is so cool, Gwen. You can come to RADFest and you can ask all these questions. Like, that's why so
you don't have to come on a podcast. You can go there and ask. you can ask the scientists themselves. Yeah.
You can meet the scientists. You can ask questions. You can meet your friends and neighbors. We often hear people say, I made my best friends at RADFest, because it's a different kind of conversation, and it's a place that you can explore, ask these questions, learn. There's no intimidation. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything. It's a place that you can come and learn and ask questions, because part of the problem is there's great technology and great medicine coming out, but how do you learn about it other than, through your computer? And so what RADFest is doing is we are creating market adoption and market demand. Because, like the brick cell phone, the more demand there is from the public, the cheaper it becomes. So number one is, this is the conversation for any person on the planet, for the general public. Additionally, we still have physicians, scientists, owners, et cetera, investors. A lot of investors come as well. This is a great place to source. And then the second thing is public policy, is advancing public policy. And then the third thing is, a lot of new companies come and launch at RADFest because of that market adoption.
So, public policy. I'm gonna ask you about this one, because I know this is a question I'm going to bring up in Scottsdale. Is I think a lot of people don't understand that a lot of these things that you see on the internet, these powders and juices and stuff like that, quite a few of them do not get FDA approval. Okay.
Yeah.
However, everybody, we're not here to beat up on Bobby. I will leave my opinion about Bobby to myself, Bobby Jr. However, there is structures that you have to go in to sell vitamins. So just so everybody knows, we are not at the age anymore of somebody can sell you what has become a Dr. Pepper as a cure-all for cancer. We're not there anymore.
Yeah.
But this is a place where you're going to have people that are going to come on the market with some of these new things. I mean, it was about 10 years ago that peptides was this radical thing that you actually had at Radfest. And now in the longevity world, it's actually almost mainstream, different peptides and different things like that. So it if people come to this, is the stuff they're going to try and things they're going to do, how safe is it? Like, how are they going to feel about it? Like, I don't want to go there and pop some weird pill and not know because it's not FDA approved. You are going to have some of that stuff there. Is that correct?
Well, so this will be our 11th year, so we really do a lot of due diligence.
Okay.
Companies have to apply to even be in the exhibit hall. We're only going to have about 50 companies. It's not like hundreds of companies. It's not duplicatable companies. We try to get the best of the best in every field or arena. And the biggest thing is everybody has to do their due diligence. I would say don't try anything. Don't try anything right there, right then. I would say get all the information. We keep the conference app open for 30 days. So all of the companies have a profile, they have links, so you can do a 30-day research. And so we highly recommend, this is information gathering and due diligence and then making a educated guess, because you can go to the hospital and get some of the worst service you've ever gotten in your life.
Sure.
So terrible thing. We tell people now, if you're going to the hospital, you need a patient advocate. You need someone that's advocating for you. So the main thing is we bring in the best of the best. We can't guarantee anything, but this is what I do. I do this personally. This is my job, is working with companies on a global scale. And it's exposing you to new things and new conversations. And so I would do your due diligence and then make an educated guess and run it by your doctor. There's no harm in running it by your doctor, or even meeting new doctors there. So there's going to be a lot of doctors there that are longevity doctors. Many
MD
physicians,
people, MD doctors. Not
many
like
physicians. Yeah.
Right.
Many
Actual ones that went to school, like not off the internet kind of doctors. Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, the doctors that come here are board certified. So they're MDs. They might be naturopaths and alternative medicine as well, but mostly it's medical. A lot of medical physicians have transitioned. Oh, I have some stories, man. Have transitioned into longevity medicine. Well, here's the story. Like, I went to a conference recently for medical doctors, and it was for their credits. They have to get their CEs.
Right.
And I was actually at a peptide booth, and a couple doctors came up and said they were so frustrated with medicine because they weren't making a difference. They were giving people pills. And they started using peptides, and they started using specific programs, and they're like seeing a difference in their patients. This one doctor said, I almost gave up on medicine because I'm just putting a Band-Aid.
Wow.
Yeah. And so physicians have actually become depressed because they know they're not really helping people in this current model. So that's what you're going to experience at RADFest. So RADFest is going to be your educational opportunity. Ask all the questions, get exposed to things, meet some best friends, meet people from all over the country. Before COVID, we used to have 35 different countries attend. It was so fun.
Wow.
It's a little more difficult for people to travel globally right now. We still will have some. And then you can actually talk to the longevity doctors. You can talk to the scientists. Everybody hangs out in the exhibit hall because it's not an exhibit hall. It's a networking place.
Okay.
top keynote speakers will hang out in the hall.
Okay.
And there's a lot of collaborating there. Yeah.
So you're not saying, you don't have to go to RADFest. You can go to RADFest, I would say, as a skeptic. I mean, that's my word. But, I mean, like I said, the people last week were hearing about cryonics. And so if they want to go to Scottsdale this fall, they can go in with an attitude of, yeah, but come on. And you're supportive of that. So it isn't like, no. If you don't agree with everything that's here, then get out of town.
We actually encourage skeptics. We encourage everybody. We encourage skeptics because that expands the conversation, because there are questions that need to be asked, and not everyone has all the questions. The other thing I think is really important, and I love the work you do in the Rotarian community, is that, listen, your listeners are vital to this conversation, because here's the thing: market adoption, gene therapies. There are things that need to happen, and the cost needs to come down, and that will only happen by a greater amount of public demand. So I want all of your I'm not saying the word right. I want all of your
Rotarian. You were on it.
Okay.
Rotarians and Rotarian friends. You were on it.
Yes. I want all of your members to come to RADFest that can, because you need to know this stuff and you need to share this with your community, because guess what? You might save someone's life. You need to pass this on. This is how you can make a difference, among many other things you probably do. But this information needs to be shared in every community. Like I said, even the doctors, so we want to raise that value and raise that knowledge base. You go to your physician, now you can ask more intelligent questions. What is stem cells? What should you look for? What are exosomes? What are quality exosomes? There's so many different kinds of exosomes. How do you know what's good? What are peptides? How do you know what's good? That's what we do, is we bring in the foremost companies in those arenas. They educate you. You can ask further questions. And then, because right now, how do you know? You can go to Walgreens and it says stem cells on a cream. What the heck is that?
Or some influencer told you it was awesome. When is RADFest?
RADFest is September 4th through the 6th. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's at a beautiful resort called the Talking Stick. And we got an extraordinary room rate of under $150 a night at a gorgeous hotel.
Well, there you go.
Right.
That you can't get much more. And I will definitely, Jean's going to send me a link so I can put that in the notes and all that kind of stuff. So,
and we will have a discount code for all your listeners. We'll give them an extra special
look at
discount.
That. I love it. Okay, let's do it. So what is really the purpose of RADFest? What's the purpose?
The purpose of RADFest, I think, is to give people options and a way out of the doldrums, a way out of the rat race, a way out of a life that's already played out and played out and played out. This will open your eyes to new possibilities, and maybe you'll start a new career in your 60s and 70s. Maybe you'll go a totally different direction. Maybe you'll be a community influencer sharing this good information. Maybe you'll just help one person in your neighborhood saying, oh, you should be taking zinc. Do you know, the other thing, one last thing I do want to say that we're going to have at RADFest is every single person should be taking their genetic test, genome test, a test of all your genomes, because you need to know how your body's processing things. We have more stories now. Someone that had a severe, I think my sister-in-law just told me that someone that was struggling with Alzheimer's, they found out was a lack of B12. A teenager that was struggling in his energy was zinc. So it could be a complex problem, or it could be a simple problem, but you need to know. And so we're going to have genome testing on site there. And wow. So there are base level things that we all should be doing that we're just not aware of.
Thank you, my friend, Jean. I want everybody to check out RADFest. And if you can't make it this year, this is its 11th year, I think you told us. that's okay because I'm going to RadFest, and then I will give you literally the view this year so you can buy your tickets for next year. But check it out in the meantime.
If you want to come and hang out with Gwen, you need to be at RadFest.
That's right. If you want to come hang out with me, until I'm on the road, but yeah, it's a fascinating thing. This will be my second time. My first time I was more working than actually playing. This time I get to play a little bit, at least talk to everybody. I am part of the longevity sphere, but I have to say, much like my spiritual practices, I kind of take some and then leave some. And thank you for being willing to share your longevity journey with us, because there's going to be people listening to my voice that will be like, look, I'm in my 80s, I'm in my 90s, I'm done, I'm tapping out, put me in a box, I'm good to go. Bye, kids, I love you. And then there's others that could be listening to our voice going, well, I got a few more years in me. I could do this for a little while.
That's what we found. Honestly, we've had 70, 80 or 90-year-olds. When they come to RadFest, they feel viable. They can be part of a human trial. There's a lot more options. And the other thing too, I wanted to mention real quick before you wrap up, and please come and say hi to me. I'll be there. I'm Jean. If you heard me on the show with Gwen, you need to come up and say, hey, Jean, I heard you on the show, and you can ask me any questions as well.
Yeah, I love it. And I'll tell you, one of the strangest things I ever had happen to me was somebody at a table next door to me saying, are you Gwen Jones? I recognize your voice. So you never know. Somebody may recognize your voice. You may never know. You may never know. Jean, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you so much, Gwen. You're a doll. And until next time.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Jean. So what do you think, you guys? You want to go to RadFest? I mean, I'd love to see you guys there. But even more than that, you ready to get older? And if so, are you ready to try new things? Or are you just okay with just getting older? And maybe the aches and pains, or maybe the spirituality of just the ending of time is all you need. Like I said, I'm starting some conversations. I'm turning 60. And thank you, Jean, for being willing to tell us about your journey. Hey, shout out to last week. And Charlie, thank you for telling us about cryonics. I'm going to be talking with a lot of people over the next year or so that work in this area of longevity, be it through health and exercise, be it through new treatments, be it with AI, be it with all kinds of things. Why? One, because I think it's fascinating. Two, there's more and more older Americans. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, we are all living longer. So we need to ask ourselves, if we're living longer, what kind of people do we want to be? I mean, I'm kind of getting a feeling on how I want to be. How do you want to be? Good conversation. So I look forward to this September being in Scottsdale, Arizona for RadFest. We'll be doing the show from there, and I'm going to introduce you to more amazing people. Until then, if you know somebody, whether longevity or not, maybe they're just doing something cool that I should know about, please let me know, rotarianpod@gmail.com. And if you want me to hit the road, just like Jean did to get me to RadFest, again, rotarianpod@gmail.com. And until next week, hey, take care of yourself and that world around you. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the Action to Impact Show. Have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you soon.